Within the bath. Within the bath. Every bath begins with a vision, where ideas and strategies define directions, from the depth of strategic thinking to ever-evolving dynamics of the world. A program broadcast in English brings insight into the journeys that shape the course of individuals, institutions, and nations. Prepared and presented by Mohra bint Zubair Al Zubair and audio director, Warrant Officer Ward bin Salim Al Rawahi.
Assalamu alaikum, our dear friends. Welcome back to Within the Path. Last episode, we introduced and reflected on Taqwa, the ultimate objective of Ramadan, the most sacred month in Islam. We spoke about Taqwa as God consciousness, living with a real awareness that God sees us and knows what is within us. And that awareness becomes a form of protection because it keeps us mindful of how we move through life. We ended by saying, Taqwa does not just end at bettering oneself. It moves beyond that to serving others. Its effect is meant to be a force of service to humanity as a whole. Today, I'd like us to continue this conversation on the topic of Taqwa. So why is fasting specifically linked to Taqwa? As Sheikh Hamza Yusuf explains, fasting is an act of imsak, holding back. And this holding back extends beyond food and drink. It includes holding back from false speech and harmful behavior. In this way, the fast disciplines both the outer and inner self, because it requires restraint in what we consume and in what we express. Fasting becomes a form of training. By managing appetite and guarding the tongue, a person strengthens the ability to regulate impulses and control desires. And over the course of the month, this self-disciplining gradually reshapes one's character. When taqwa is described as protection, like a shield, it carries an awareness that we must move through life with caution. If we know something can harm us or derail us in life, we naturally take steps to protect ourselves from it. In the same way, taqwa comes from recognizing what certain reactions, habits, or impulses can do to the heart and to our direction in life. Our thoughts also require discipline. Some thoughts, when left unchecked, can pull us into unhealthy spirals, which is why part of taqwa involves learning to regulate the inner dialogue as carefully as our outward actions. So taqwa begins as protection, but gradually it moves beyond that. As we learn to pause, regulate, hold back when necessary, we are no longer governed by impulse, anger, or desire. We become more in control of our situations. Over time, what felt like restrictive training of the self becomes somewhat effortless. Here, the disciplining, the repeated work becomes a firm foundation where impulses, desires, and the lack of self-control fade into the background, and eventually it becomes freedom. It's like choosing to learn an instrument. Let's take the violin. We start slowly. We learn how to stand, how to lift our arms, where to put our thumb, how to hold the bow. We begin with the scales, learning how to read the notes, and then slowly connecting those notes to their positions on the violin. Day after day, year after year, we become better, until one day we realize we can play. we can truly play. We can hear something and without looking at the notes, play it. Then we begin making our own music. We begin to feel one with the violin. It may have started off hard, full of practice and technicalities, and it might have felt restrictive at first, but gradually, when playing feels effortless and natural, it becomes freeing. In that sense, freedom is earned. Our dear friends, stay tuned and we'll be back right after this break. Dear friends, welcome back. I'd like us now to reflect on verse 134 in Surah Al-Imran. قال الله تعالى: الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. Those who spend in ease and in hardship, and who restrain their anger and pardon people. Allah loves those who do good. This verse describes characteristics of al-muttaqeen, people of taqwa. It speaks of those whose giving flows in both times of ease and difficulty. It then speaks of those who restrain their anger. Anger is part of being human, and we have all felt it. Yet what truly matters is what we do with it. Holding anger in that first moment is not easy, especially when reacting feels immediate. Choosing to pause in that instant and not react reflects great strength. The fact that this moment is mentioned in the Quran shows how significant it is. Holding anger is not treated as something secondary. It is placed at the heart of what it means to live with taqwa. That tells us something about the weight of that moment. It can shape what follows, because anger, if left unchecked, can spread quickly and cause harm, not only within us, but around us. But when we hold ourselves in that first instant, we protect more than just our own state. We protect our relationships, our words, and the direction things may take. The verse also mentions those who pardon others. Forgiveness requires letting go of resentment and choosing not to carry something against someone. It reflects immense strength, great strength. The verse concludes by saying that Allah loves those who do good. The word love is significant here because it elevates these characteristics, these qualities, and describes them as beloved. This is where an important distinction must be made. Taqwa is not about avoiding every situation that may test us. It is not about removing ourselves from the world so that we are never challenged. Rather, it works within us so that when we are placed in situations that would have once triggered us, we remain composed. The circumstances may still be there, the source of provocation may still exist, but we are no longer controlled by it. That inner strength is what taqwa gradually builds. During Ramadan, for example, some people feel uncomfortable when others eat or drink in front of them while they are fasting, while others remain unaffected. The difference lies in the level of self-control within the individual. When fasting is understood properly, seeing food or drink does not have to disturb the heart. Its presence should not be controlling. This is part of the training. The goal is not to remove the food from sight, but to strengthen ourselves so that its presence does not influence us. In the same way, in other stressful situations, taqwa allows us to remain composed. The circumstances may still exist, yet it no longer governs our reaction. This is how taqwa becomes a path to higher living. At its heart, It begins with God consciousness, with asking ourselves what brings us closer to God. It makes us aware that what God commands us to avoid is for our own good. In that sense, Taqwa protects us by aligning us with what is good for us. It invites us to reflect within, to recognize our flaws honestly, and to commit to growth. We understand that we are imperfect, yet we continue striving to improve. As we grow into stronger and more disciplined versions of ourselves, that growth does not remain limited to us. When a person works on themselves, refines their character, it naturally reflects on how they treat others and how they contribute to their community. In this way, Taqwa becomes more than a personal journey. It unfolds into a shared elevation. Each of us is part of a greater whole, and the refinement of the inner self radiates outward. When we rise in awareness and character, our homes and communities rise with us, gently lifting the world around us, day after day. Thank you for being with me. Until next time, this is Mohra Al Zubair from Within the Path.
Within the Bath. Every bath begins with a vision, where ideas and strategies define directions, from the depth of strategic thinking to ever-evolving dynamics of the world. A program broadcast in English brings insight into the journeys that shape the course of individuals, institutions, and nations. Prepared and presented by Mohra bint Zubair Al Zubair and audio director, Warrant Officer Ward bin Salim Al Rawahi.